I hit a really good shot. You'll see up here in the corner of the screen the numbers from the TrackMan. Looks like I've hit that shot not only on the green, but less than 10 feet from the cup. A great shot by any measure. Now I've made a little bit of a tweak to my setup in order for me to have a better chance at hitting onto the green more consistently. And right after this, I'm going to reveal what that is. Hey, this is Steve from HitItLonger.com. I continue my journey to hit it longer and straighter off the tee, but also longer and straighter to the greens too, because hitting more fairways and more greens is just simply a really fun, stress-free way to play golf. If you agree, then please join me. Hit the subscribe button and support the channel by hitting the like and leaving a comment. All right, so an important key to hitting the ball both on the fairway but also hitting it on the green with more regularity is going to be to make sure that the swing plane and the club path line up as closely as possible to the flag at the moment you strike the ball. So that means that the club's path, of course we'd like to see it come from about this angle from the inside, but at the moment of impact, for just that brief photograph, your club head is traveling as close to the flag as you can get it. Now, in order to do that, we're going to need to make a very slight tweak to our stance. You see, a lot of students that come to me that have issues not hitting the green as often as they want usually set up with their irons square is not terrible. In other words, parallel to your intended line of flight. Now, that's not atrocious. You're going to see it's not the most efficient way of doing things in a second, but a lot of people, they actually poke their left foot forward a little bit and they're playing irons, especially short irons, off of a closed stance. Now, all else being equal, the most efficient way to hit the ball straight and onto the green with the irons is going to be to play it from a slightly open position. So if I put my right foot up to the stick, I want on at least a 6-iron, I want my stance maybe about 1 inch open. You'll also notice that I'm going to flare the foot out about 20 or 30 degrees, just like this. Now we can use this hula hoop as kind of a crude representation of the club's path or the swing plane, you could say. And you see, just to make it very obvious, I'm going to lie the club down on the ground because this makes what I'm talking about much more obvious. You see, on an iron, we should not be striking the ball at the bottom of the arc, which would be, if of course there was any verticality to the wheel, even a little bit, you can see that the bottom of the arc is moving along the orange stick, which is our target line. However, we're not going to be hitting the ball at the bottom of the arc. We shouldn't be. You'd have a hard time hitting the ball cleanly with any compression that way. You're going to be hitting down on the ball, but you're not going to be hitting the ball at the bottom of the arc. At least I hope not, because you're not going to get any compression and you're not going to get to strike the ball cleanly every time. But instead, we're looking to make a low point 2, 3, 4 inches in front of the ball, which ensures a slight down strike at the moment of impact. If I'm hitting down on the ball, it means I'm hitting it further back in the arc, somewhere behind the low point. So if the low point is here, so there's the low point, okay, and I'm going to be hitting the ball maybe with the 6-iron slightly before I reach my low point. But as we lay this down to make it easier to understand now, if I'm hitting the ball, as I'm hitting down on it right here, see, I'm actually going to hit the ball too far from the inside out in my effort to hit down on it. Now, remember, I'm coming right around this circle, so at the time I reach the low point, well, my path is perfectly straight at that moment. But the ball's already gone at that point, off to the right most likely, because as I've hit down on this thing from this arc, You see I'm in the push part of the arc. So having your feet straight is somewhat of an error, but now imagine taking the wheel and turning it further to the right, like this. Now, there's where I'm going to be striking the ball. Something like that. And now we really have got angle problems, as my path is simply going to be too far in to out, and I'm going to have to rely on a lot of curve to bring it back, or else I'm going to simply push the ball off to the right. So it's the kind of the geometry of the swing that suggests that ideally we would actually want to be playing, let's return everything, a little bit open, so that we can make the path straight and sync it up with the downstrike. So there is, about a 1-inch open stance. It's not a lot, you see. So if I can get my toes on a 6-iron to be about 1 inch open, like this, then my odds of hitting it straight increase. If I'm closed, the odds of me hitting a straight shot are going to decrease on an iron shot, especially if you're doing it on a short iron or a wedge. All right, so let's check out a shot now. I've got my sticks lying down. The orange stick is going at my target, which is about the oak tree out there. And the yellow stick is going to be the stick I orient my toes to. It's about 1 inch or so open compared to the orange stick. All right, so the numbers for that shot are coming up here on the screen. It was not an ideal shot for sure, but it's a great illustration of how the downstrike affects your path. Notice how my swing direction is about 2.5 degrees to the left, which means I was swinging down my new foot line about 1 inch to the left. But since I hit down on the ball about 4.5 degrees, it caused my actual swing path, again, because the properties of that swing circle caused my path to be dead 0.0. Now that is going to give me at least a better fighting chance of hitting the ball onto the green. Now here I've got a 56-degree sand wedge, and I would advocate that you open up even more, let's say closer to 2 inches open on a 56 degree. Why? Because a 56 degree is going to be generally played back in your stance further, with the hands forward more at impact, hopefully. It's going to create a sharper downstrike, maybe 5 or 6 degrees downwards, where a 6-iron would be less. Therefore, if I'm going to hit down on it more, I need to open up a little bit more. So here I'm going to open up about 2 inches. Again, I'm flaring my left toe open 20 or 30 degrees. And again, the geometry of that swing, hitting down on it as I moved left, caused my path to be right on 0 degrees again, and I was able to hit the ball within 6 inches of the cup on that last shot. All right, so remember, as the irons get smaller, your stance should progressively get a little bit more open so that you can start the ball straighter right at the flag. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Steve, and I'll either see you in the next video, or I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway and closer to the pin. Take care, everybody.